Today I'm going to be talking to you about tents versus tarps. It's an age-old debate. At the end of this, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on what I use and why. But first, we've actually got to get to a location where we can set both up, take a good look, make the comparisons, and work out what's what and what's not. And you can see, in fact, I'm following a deer track. The deer have done the work for me. I'm picking that up now, that trail. Okay, so this is a synthetic fibered material. You kind of have to be careful with your tarps. So you probably would have seen there that took quite a bit more effort than the tarpaulin did. But they both do different things and they've both got different advantages, pros and cons. So let's just really get into it some more, shall we? So our tarpaulin is our singular sheet. It's got absolutely stacks of space and they come in a variety of different sizes. And in this configuration, it's the classic, what we call an A-frame. So there's nothing much more to it than having fixed it at a series of points along the floor and running over the top of a rope which is acting as our ridge line today. A tent comes with prefabricated various different materials he's made of. These poles which I had to snap into place and erect to put in a subframe. So this little kind of inner, as it's known here. Ooh, dark in there. And then you have an outer waterproof fly sheet which is required to go over the top. Now this one's quite spacious. It's a 4-person tent. It's more of a family size tent. You get an idea for its dimensions. A tarpaulin has its own fixing points and you can see those toggles all the way along the base here. Okay, there's lots of different multiple fixing points on the tarpaulin and that gives you a great level of adaptability for the many shapes you can create. A tent is a one-stop shop, stays in the form that it was designed to be in, and it will also have a series of fixing points. Now these are guide ropes, okay, and you'd peg these out in the same way that I have with the tarp, okay, and therefore use in high winds, blown about, or your tent doesn't get lifted and taken off. What's to stop your tarpaulin getting lifted and taken off? Nothing. So yeah, so tarpaulins aren't as foolproof in a storm as a tent is going to be. And the other thing is a tent comes with a built-in ground sheet. You've got the protective layer inside here. And if anything past this threshold is sacred. You can adopt the same things with the tarpaulin. I think this is maybe a big part of the conundrum is skill set. If you've got the skill set and the confidence to configure a tarpaulin in many different shapes and sizes according to the terrain that you're in, the weather that you're exposed to, then yeah, you're probably going to favour tarpaulins because that's your thing. It really is horses for courses. If you're part of the tent crowd, absolutely nothing wrong with that either. I'm one of those weirdos that sits both sides of the fence and uses different things for different times of the year in different places. But personally, when it comes down to it, if I had to hand on heart say, I'd say it's about a tarp. And it's about a tarp for many reasons, not just their practicality and their outdoor application, okay? I'm kind of getting into more of a sort of mental health standpoint. I love the sound of rain on canvas, and yes, you get rain on canvas from both of these, okay? That feeling of waking up in the morning and having this stunning view where you're actively part of the woodland, okay, and you can kind of see out of there in many different directions. You can see the deer, you can see things moving around in front of you. I think for me is absolutely amazing. There's this dappled light thing. So when we compare the two, this is your only space for light to enter, and I mean real daylight, and I mean interacting with the landscape around you. I can't see behind me or to the side of me right now. It's not just about shutting yourself away at the end of the day, locking yourself away where all you see, all 4 walls around you are the same colour. It's about going to bed part of that landscape that you're in, and waking up part of that landscape that you're in. And you could turn a tarpaulin into a tent. All you need is a walking pole. Okay, so here it is. Let's take a little peek now that it's all been fettled with. I've turned a DD Havoc tarp into a tent configuration. Da-da-da. That tiny little enclosed space to go in and out. Obviously you can, if you really wanted to, fold some of that porch in as well. Balanced against the real tent and the tarpaulin over the back. So just to show that, you know, tarps are really adaptable and you can do a lot with them. And all I've done in here is use a walking pole the inside. Now, to give you an idea for space, I'm going to crawl inside here. So a little bit of applied tarpology goes a long way, and with something like a walking stick, or you could even, guys, you could just fashion one out of a piece of wood. It's not rocket science. I'm completely out the elements. I've got that tent feel. Look back at you at home today now. I've got a very small field of vision, the same sort of thing that I'd get with the tent. But if the conditions were super harsh, this would be one of the sort of things I'd be looking to make with the tarpaulin. Again, the versatility and adaptability of a tarpaulin. I use this environment in the outdoors to keep myself in check, keep myself grounded, and to help, quite frankly, with the things that I struggle with. Locking myself away in a tent, for me, isn't engaging with nature, whereas using a tarpaulin and having that accessibility at all times to peek out and look around and be part of it, and, oh, what was that? You know, that for me is a big thing. I think both of these provide a level of that, but purely for the views, the sunlight, and that level of interaction, for me, it's all about the tarp. Jen suffering to get out of the woodland. All the lockdown walkers have trashed all the footpaths, so I'm just grizzing it out and just cross grading through the forest to try and get up onto that plateau at the top. Not much fun. Enjoyed filming today. Weather wasn't so harsh. Hopefully there's enough solid comparative points and that it's a winner. Oh, shit me. Here we go, we're on top. Flat. Just got to keep going that way. Just probably just under a K back to the car.